What's up guys, Jay here, and today I have another impromptu update video. So today, as I usually do on Thursdays, I was watching the devs weekly stream while playing some Deep Rock myself. And for today's stream, not only was it very unique, but they also decided to announce a lot of the confirmed additions to Season 5. So I had to pause work on my video about armor breaking, which you guys will see tomorrow, to talk about what they said. So if you guys are ready, here is everything that they talked about in today's stream regarding what will be in Season 5, as well as some other interesting things. By the way, if you like this video, maybe show it with a like and subscribe, because it can sometimes be hard to throw these kinds of videos together in a single day. So the start of the stream was actually very nice and wholesome, because they had actually brought on a lot of the biggest Deep Rock Galactic content creators to talk with them about their experiences with the game and what they thought. But you know, it wasn't complete because I wasn't there, but take no heed, this time next year I will be there alongside with them. You have my word. In any event, it was really nice to hear the kinds of ways that they had gotten introduced to the game, what they like about it, and the kinds of content that they do. They had Reaper Run, Lazy Baby, Explorian, Sniss, and Drilling in the Name of all there, and all of those guys are fantastic content creators that I highly recommend you check out. A lot of them are a lot better than myself personally. I'll have links to all of their channels down in the description if you want to check them out. They also mentioned that the content creators in general that were there got to play an early build of Deep Rock Galactic Rogue Core, so I'm very interested to see what they have to say about that, and it's nice to know that Rogue Core process is coming along smoothly. The biggest thing, however, was after they had gotten done talking with the content creators, they decided to just dump a lot of information about Season 5 onto us about various things that are going to be coming out. And boy, did they say a lot. They gave us a bit of a coming soon in Season 5 sort of roadmap, and I thought it would be fun to go through and talk about what the devs said and what my personal predictions are going to be as well. First, the new theme being a prelude to Rogue Core is something none of us were really too surprised at. They had said this many of times. They've said that Season 5 is going to be an intro to Rogue Core and it's going to tie into it, which is pretty understandable, so not too much there. What comes after that is very interesting, a new mission type. There's new work to be done, it involves searching. Now this is where a lot of the speculation comes into play, and also where a lot of confirmation comes into play. I've been saying for a long time that we need more mission types in the game. We haven't gotten a new mission type since all the way back in Season 1 with the Industrial Sabotage missions. So this is really nice to see that we're finally getting confirmation of a new mission type to be added into the game. What they mean by it involves searching, that is where a lot of the speculation comes into play. They had mentioned the basic mining expedition, as it is one of the basic types of missions in the game, as well as one of the first ones that was added. So it might be something similar to those lines. It might be something where we have to collect the Expedite material, which is from Rogue Core, or something along those lines. Or maybe we have to search the abandoned outposts that we're going to be exploring in Rogue Core. It's kind of hard to say specifically, but one thing that I'm very happy about is that we're getting a new mission type. This also opens up more things for deep dives, because now we're going to have a new mission to be added into the system that sort of changes things up, so we get a little bit more variety, more ways that we can kit ourselves out for specific builds. It's going to be very, very nice. And similar to that, we're getting more new enemies, some mobile, some stationary, all of them keen to kill you. That is something that is very interesting. We got new enemies back in Season 4 with the Stingtail and the Septic Spreader, and they were rocky to say the least. People had a lot of problems with them, and then they changed them a lot. They nerfed them, they buffed them, they did a whole bunch of things to them, and now they're in much more of a stable position, at least in my personal experience. So now that we're getting more enemies, this is going to be even more of a change from what we've seen before. I do like how they specifically say some mobile, some stationary. What exactly do they mean by some mobile and some stationary? I guess the best thing to consider is we're probably going to be getting more things akin to the Spitball Infector, or maybe the Stabber Vines, or the Brood Nexus, something that is not going to move. Maybe like a new boss type enemy like the Corlock Tyrant Weed, or just something that obviously isn't going to move, which is going to be very interesting to see how they decide to do that. Is it going to be a plant? Is it going to be an actual insect? What are they going to do? As for the mobile enemy, it's just as mysterious as to what it's going to be. One thing that does come to mind to me personally, however, and I know that they had talked about this a little bit in the stream and I've talked about it before, is the Rammer from the board game. The Rammer is a unique enemy that specifically exists in the board game that they have said before that they weren't really too keen on transferring over, but I still think would make a really good addition to the game because it would probably change things up a good amount. Still, it's hard to really say for certain exactly what they're going to be adding in, but it's good that we're getting more new enemies and more new threats nonetheless. Then after that, we're getting new overclocks, which this is something that is huge. This is probably going to be the second biggest thing to be added with Season 5, along with the new mission type, because it's going to be changing up the way that we play the game, specifically in how we build ourselves out. We're getting one new overclock for every primary weapon. Now that is crazy. Now they didn't specify if they were going to be clean overclocks, balanced overclocks, or unstable overclocks. They kind of left that ambiguous, so it could be any combination. It's possible we might be getting cleans for a few, unstables for a couple. It's really up in the air, and they'll probably give us a little bit more information on this later. But still, the fact that we're getting new overclocks, new ways to build craft, new ways to set ourselves up is a great addition. Then, of course, as usual, we get a new seasonal performance pass. This is something that we are all super used to. We get a free performance pass that we get to go through each season, and it's going to be no difference here. There's going to be credits, crafting materials, and all kinds of stuff that we can get. So it's nice that they're sticking with this as well. The next thing is very interesting. Replaying old seasons. We're looking into a way to let players activate past seasons and play through them. Now, the devs go into a little bit talking about this, but basically what this makes me think of is something similar to, say, Halo Infinite, for example, which is on my brain because I just played that recently. In that game, you can basically play through any of the season passes that you want at any given point in time. They're not time locked. This is going to be really good for Deep Rock Galactic because it's going to A, be very good for new players who never got to experience the older seasons, and B, it's going to help returning players to sort of hit that nostalgia or go down memory lane of the kinds of seasons that they had played before, or maybe the seasons that they had played when they first started playing the game. Like me, for example, I started playing 4 seasons were a thing. I took a bit of a break and then I came back right before season 1 launched. So for me, season 1 holds a very special place in my heart, and it would be kind of nice to go through that again. They also mentioned that you're going to actually be able to progress through the cosmetic trees of those particular seasons like we have now, which is going to be very interesting, especially for people who do not already have said cosmetics. Ultimately, this seems like a very good accessibility change that's just going to make players be less bored of what's happening and be able to experience the kind of content that they want to experience. Maybe you can go back to season 1 and not have to worry about rockpox in general. Ultimately, in terms of the big stuff, there's a lot of things that are going on, and I definitely think that the new mission types, the new overclocks, and the replaying of old seasons is going to be a very big thing. But again, keep in mind that this is not an exhaustive list. This is just what we're ready to talk about now. So they're going to be adding more stuff later, and they're going to be talking about more stuff later, but this is just the main core components as to what's coming out in season 5 now that they're ready to disclose. Then we have a lot of smaller things that they're going to be adding in that aren't quite as impactful, but still very nice to think about. First, we have some new dance moves, which I guess are going to be things that you're going to do at the Abyss Bar when you turn on the jukebox. Not super important, but hey, that's pretty nice. Although I will say, if I ever am on the space rig and I see a dwarf hitting the gritty, I am going to freak out. Then we have cosmetic filtering. Not really sure exactly what they mean by this. It just says keep your wardrobe better organized and use filters to sort your stuff by category. They kind of mention a little bit about this when they talk about how the fact that some headgear is full-on helmets instead of just hats or even just hairs, so you might be able to categorize them a little bit better just to sort of clean up your wardrobe, which to me seems pretty nice. I do think it can be a little bit cumbersome to try to sort through all the stuff that you have to find the right hairstyle or helmet that you want, so this is a nice change of pace as well. Then we have game optimization just to make things run better regardless of what sort of setup you've got. Yep, just standard optimization stuff to make the game run better. NVIDIA DLSS3 integration, just a nice way to boost your frame rate. I'm not super technical, so I don't quite understand the full mechanics about that, but that seems like a good thing. And of course, we have the new DLC armor set, which is standard with every season we have gotten. There's always a armor set that comes out that you can purchase separately that is just purely cosmetic, and I'm sure that this is going to be no different, and it's going to probably look just as good as what we have seen before. So as a few quick mentions to some of the things that devs were talking about when they were answering viewer questions, they had talked about perk reworks and new biomes at some point in time, and they did say that they are on the wish list, but not super high up the priority list right now. So we can expect to see certain things happen down the pipeline eventually, but as of right now, kind of all the focus is being shifted towards season 5, with Rogue Core taking a little bit of a back seat and those other ancillary things being pushed back even further. That being said, keep in mind that there is still a lot more to come regarding what's happening in season 5, and this is just what they're talking about right now. They did say that they are going to be doing another On the Horizon stream a few months from now, so they're probably going to be doing a lot more information on that. I'm not sure if they're going to do it before or after season 5. If they do it before, obviously we're going to be getting more information. And if they do it afterwards, then we're going to be getting more information on Rogue Core, most likely. So to give my initial thoughts and reactions to what I have seen and heard, I think that the new mission type is going to be very interesting, and I'm very curious to see what it's going to be. I do think it is going to have something to do with Expedite. I just something in my brain is keen on that because it's such a integral part of Rogue Core, and because this next season is going to have a theme that is similar to Rogue Core, it just makes a whole lot of sense for me. In terms of the enemies, I really have no idea what to expect because I had no idea what the Stingtail and the Septic Spreader were going to be. So the fact that not only we're getting something new that is similar to the normal bugs where they move around, but something that doesn't move around is going to be really difficult for me to pin down exactly what it's going to be. The replaying the old seasons is going to be really interesting, especially for not only new players, but players who don't necessarily play too consistently. A lot of people that I know play this game, but then they just sort of fall out of it for a little while, and then they go play something else, and then they come back and they're like, oh, I missed a lot of stuff. Well, this gives them the opportunity to sort of experience everything as they go through in a much more concise way, which I do think is going to be really good for a lot of players. Ultimately, I do think that Season 5 is going to be a very big step in the right direction for Deep Rock going forward. I know that a lot of people are still upset about the fact that it's taking so long for it to come out. However, this is the process that happens when you're talking about just adding huge amounts of content to your game. If the things that are coming in Season 5 are anything like what they're talking about, they're going to change the game in a lot of different ways. We're going to be getting an entirely new mission type, entirely new ways to use our weapons, entirely new enemies to use them against, as well as a slew of other things that, again, this might not even be the full package of what we're getting. So you have to keep that in mind. Well, there you go. I just wanted to give my brief thoughts about this stream that I saw and a lot of the things that sort of took me by surprise. I was not expecting to get all this information given to us at this point in time. I thought it was really, really cool that we got to see all these content creators actually interact with the devs. And I'm very happy to see that the community has gotten to a point where that's just a thing that happens. And I do really hope that I get to be in that similar position at some point in time in the future. And you guys can help out with that by liking, commenting, and subscribing to this channel. And I will try to keep you guys updated as best I can of any more information that comes out. Again, making videos like this in a single day can sometimes be very difficult, but I will try my best to keep you guys in the loop of everything involving Season 5, Rogue Core, or anything else Deep Rock related that you guys might want to hear about. But anyway, I hope you guys found this video interesting and helpful. If you did, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe because it tells me what types of videos you guys want to see. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video.